Hey everyone, welcome back to the last week of the semester. Do we even call it a semester anymore? But here's your last assignment, your last lab. So I'm going to follow this up with another lecture on Wednesday. So the purpose of today's video is to really go through the lab for this week that looks at feedback. How do we deliver feedback? So we've talked about how do we get ready for the learning experience. We've talked about how do we structure the learning experience. How do we supplement the learning experience. Now we're going to talk about how do we provide information during the learning experience. And that's all about feedback. And we use feedback in a lot of different ways. And there's a lot of value in how we deliver feedback. And feedback differs based on any of a number of different circumstances, whether that's stage of learning, whether that's who you're working with, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's a group setting, whether that's someone who is brand new to a new experience or an expert in a new experience. All different types of feedback play huge roles. And there are a lot of different theories that dictate feedback and how we deliver feedback. So the lab that we're doing for this week is a really fun way to sort of demonstrate that. So the lab is up online. It's on Moodle. There's two different parts to it as far as two different files you'll see. One of them is the lab itself, and that's the feedback lab. The second is actually a little millimeter ruler. So congratulations, I give you guys a free ruler that has that measures in millimeters. So you guys will need that to measure this lab. So the purpose of this lab is for you and a partner to go through two different types of feedback experience. And the purpose of this lab is to go through 20 trials, two different times, and see what it's like to experience feedback in different ways. Now, there are two different types of feedback that we're going to use for this. We're going to talk about 100% knowledge of results and self-requested feedback. Now, knowledge of results can usually mean any of a number of different things. Most of our sports type examples, most of the feedback that we get as far as knowledge of results is pretty redundant. It usually looks at, did we make that shot? Did we hit that ball? Did we catch that? Did we kick that? Did it go in? Did it not go in? So knowledge of results a lot of times is pretty redundant, but we're looking at knowledge of results for this particular one. Knowledge of performance is usually a little bit more valuable when we're talking about sports type skills, because that gives us an idea of what we did right or what we did wrong, especially extrinsic type feedback that we don't get from ourselves or that we can't tell. If we're taking a golf lesson and we hit a bad shot, we may not know that we kept our weight on our backside or that our elbow didn't stay tucked in or we didn't keep our head down. So knowledge of results, knowledge of performance are much different. You'll see that in the PowerPoint that we have. So the purpose of this lab is to actually go through and try to approach a task in a new way. And you're going to perform this task with your eyes closed. So not only are you not going to get information while you're performing the movement, you're not going to see it at all. So the purpose of this lab is to draw a line as straight as you possibly can from the start line to the target line with your eyes closed. Now, over the course of all of the blocks of trials, you're going to keep your eyes closed throughout the entire block of trials, so you won't even see how well you did. So your partner is going to actually physically move your hand to the start line. They're going to tell you to go. You're going to try to draw a line that goes from the start line to the target line. When you stop and you've completed your line, your partner is going to measure that line and then record the distance that you were from the target line in millimeters. Now, the two different types of feedback that you're going to be getting, if you choose to do 100% knowledge of results, you will get feedback after every trial. So your partner will tell you, yeah, you were 15 millimeters short or you were 25 millimeters long. And that will be the case over all of your trials. You get feedback after all of your trials. If you're in the self-requested feedback, that feedback has a different type of power to it. And then that group is only going to get feedback when they ask for it. Now, what's important with this is that you utilize this as an actual learning tool. You don't want to get feedback after every trial. You only want to get feedback when you think you need it. Maybe you had a really good trial or a really good attempt, or you think you're really close and you want to get feedback, or you want to get feedback in 2 or 3 in a row so you get a good feel for it and you have an idea, and then you're going to get feedback that way. Now, both individuals in the group are going to go through and do all of their practice trials, and then during the retention test, you'll go through your retention test, but both groups won't get any feedback during those trials. Eyes closed the entire time, going through the exact same task, but your partner will just record your data but not tell you how you did, right? So the goal with this and the hypothesis is that what we should see is that it all goes back to Henry specificity of learning. Everything that we do, all of our practice setups should match the target context as much as we possibly can. In the real world, if you're playing in a game, in a match, in a contest, if you're taking a test, if you're doing a piano recital, you're not going to have a coach or someone there to tell you what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. You're going to have to do that yourself. So what we would expect to see is that the 100% knowledge of results group should perform better during practice, while the self-requested feedback should perform better during the retention test, right? Because their practice setup matches more closely to what the target context, or in this case, what the retention test is actually going to be. So that's the lab for this week. Again, you guys are doing a great job of getting these labs in, turning them in. Same thing, just email me these. It's just quicker and easier for me to go through and run through my emails from wherever I am. I'd have you guys do a Dropbox in Moodle, but Moodle's been really sketchy as far as when I can access it. This video is even going up a little bit late today because Moodle was down for a little bit. So it's working well for you guys just to email me those. Keep those questions coming for the final project. Those are due at the end of finals week. You guys will get your final exam, which is just a Unit 3 exam, kind of the same thing, same context. You guys will get that on Friday, and then you'll have till the end of finals week to finish that as well. So keep up with everything. You guys are doing unbelievable. I know this is tough, and I apologize for the difficulties that it is. This content is much easier to deliver in person when we have groups and we can collect data together and go through all of the information together, where even doing this in a group chat won't necessarily do that well. I tried even messing around with this with my senior lab techniques group, with another class, and even doing group chats and things like that is really not benefiting everyone, because it's too hard to discuss a lot of this hands-on stuff when most of the information really needs to be in person. But you guys are doing a great job. I love your feedback. I love what you're doing. I especially loved your Cookie Monster drawings. Nice job with those. So keep up the good work. If you have any questions, give me a shout. Shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to answer those. If not, we'll get a kind of a couple of at least one finalizing lecture to kind of wrap everything up over the course of the semester sometime later this week. So take care, you guys. Be safe. Be healthy. Take care.